Hi Sunday School, welcome back to our video. Today we're learning about Jonah and the whale, so let's get started.
The verse of the day is, "Nothing in all creation can hide from him," and that is in Hebrews 4 verse 13. Jonah was not being vigilant, which we know means alert and watchful, and he wasn't listening to God, and he tried to hide and run away because God wanted him to speak to the people of Nineveh to change their minds because they were wicked and they were Israel's greatest enemy. Even when Jonah went the opposite direction and ran away from his duties and got caught up in a whale, God being omnipresent, which means God is capable of being everywhere at all times, he found Jonah and told him to deliver a message to the people of Nineveh and that they would change their minds and their way of living. So we're going to look at our storyboard and find out what happened. So the first quote in the Bible says, "Go to the great city of Nineveh and preach against it,
because a wicked has come before them." And God says, "Help my people change their hearts." And the next part says, "But Jonah ran from the Lord and headed for Tarshish." And we can see that Jonah here is in the boat and waiting for the fishermen to take him far, far away. Then the Lord sent a great wind on the sea, and such a violent storm arose. And here we can see that Jonah and the fishermen are in a big storm. So if you have a paper and pen, make sure you follow along on our storyboard. Then they took Jonah and threw him overboard, and the sea became to be calm. So the storm got too heavy that the fishermen had to throw Jonah overboard after they tried to take out everything else from there. And the fishermen said, "Please, Lord, do not let us die for taking this man's life. Do not hold us accountable for killing an innocent man, for you, Lord, have done us you." In Jonah 1, verse 17, it says, "Now the Lord provided a huge fish to swallow up Jonah, and Jonah was in the belly of the fish for 3 days and 3 nights." And it says, "I will say salvation comes from the Lord. And the Lord commanded the fish, and it vomited Jonah out of its mouth onto the dry land." So Jonah prayed for 3 nights and 3 days, and finally God let the whale spit Jonah out of his mouth, and he came back. Then the word of the Lord came to Jonah a second time, and God said, "Go to the great city of Nineveh and proclaim to this message I'll give to you." And Jonah obeyed the word of the Lord and went to Nineveh. And he told them that in 40 days Nineveh would be destroyed. They all listened and repented. So Sunday School, think about what we have learned today. Go back and look at our storyboard, and let's remember 3 things that we have learned today. The first thing we have learned is that we should be obedient. Being obedient means doing what is right. So we should always be obedient. The next thing we have learned is that we should follow God's will for our lives. So just like Jonah, God gave him a task that he had to do, even though he didn't want to do it because he wasn't a fan of the Ninevites. But he, at the end of the day, listened to God and followed his will. And our last thing is being alert. Being alert means that you are aware of all your surroundings. So, everybody, let's make sure that we are alert, we are obedient, and that we continue to follow God's will for our life. Thank you, Sunday School. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. Make sure you have a look at all of our other videos and have a recap to see what you have learned.